Good morning, traders. Welcome back for another live streaming session while I do technical analysis during the London session. We're about a minute away from the London session starting, so it's what, 8 a.m. over in the UK. Currently on GBP USD, I am in a short position. We have just been seeing this this currency pair pushing down so aggressively over the last couple of days that we are likely going to see a trend continuation pushing into the downside, especially considering that the CPI data just came out. Let me just reverse a little bit. We got unemployment rates coming out that was 0.1% higher, and also just an hour ago, it was announced that the inflation rate year over year for the UK was 2.8%, which is a substantial decrease of roughly about 0.5% from last year. So what we know about inflation rates are, if inflation is low, this could this puts strain on the currency. People tend to sell off the currency because this may signal to the Bank of England to decrease interest rates to prop the inflation rate back up, right? Or inflation, we don't want to be in a deflated society, and so usually a central bank would decrease interest rates to create a nice balance among for inflation rates, right? Or to curb or control inflation. So that's bad news, basically, for the British pound, that it's now down by 0.5%, inflation being down, and so there should be a little more push into the downside on this currency pair. As you can see, I'll zoom back out to the 4-hour frame. As you can see on the 4-hour frame, we saw a potential reversal happening back into the upside. We confirmed this more with price action. So the reason why I suggested, or at least what the entry or the trade that I was looking at, the reason why I placed this here is because we saw this slowdown and this potential push. I think on the lower time frames we saw some nice breaks of structure into the upside, and this plays really nicely into my strategy. What else happened was that the DXY around that time on the British pound had entered this unverified supply zone. And because it had entered this unverified supply zone, this also prompted me to enter into or to look at a potential long on the GBP US dollar, and which we saw play out very, very nicely. So I tried to use the DXY in relation with the British pound to judge where the price may go or how the price may react on all my major currency pairs. So also, if we look at this chart and we see that this was the previous high that would, I guess, need to be broken in order for a change of character to occur back into the upside and hitting these high liquidity highs. And then we see this as the new swing low. What we may have just seen is just a 0.5 retracement, fib retracement, it's just a pullback. Because as we know, the market moves like this, right? And sometimes a bit of consolidation. So what we could have just seen here was the market come down, push up, come down, push up, and now it wants to continue itself down. So by that logic, if we see, let me just remove this fib retracement. If we see that the price breaks this lower low, this previous low, with a nice full body candle break, there might be an initial reaction here for it to come back for that retest, but ultimately will likely then end up within this daily demand zone. So you can see here, this is the daily, or it could be the weekly. Let me just scroll all the way out. Yeah, this is the weekly. Let me just update the text there. So this is the weekly unverified, or somewhat verified demand zone, right? And so what we can actually see is that the price had previously retraced on the weekly before then pushing itself back up, failing to break any new highs. And we could be seeing the price falling back into that weekly demand, right? Into that weekly demand zone. So let's jump back down to the lower time frames, which is the 4-hour frames. That is a play that we might see playing out. So I would be quite cautious when looking at this currency pair if there is a potential reversal into the upside, breaking market structure here, then okay, this play might not play out. So anyway, that's what I'm relatively bearish. So I'm very bearish on the GBP USD these days for those exact reasons. Heading over to Euro US dollar, if we're bearish on British pound, then we're always going to be bearish on the Euro dollar and vice versa. So this was from, I think, Monday's daily market breakdown, where I was expecting or hoping that the price would come back up, hitting that 200 EMA into that kind of zone here, this kind of zone here, which would then act as my bit of a retest. I was hoping that would happen, but it clearly didn't. The pullback that it did have was really shallow, and now it's pushing down again. And so where we're looking for on this pair is for it to enter into this area here, which is an unverified demand zone on the 4-hourly or the daily. Let's have a look. Yeah, for the daily. So this is a unverified daily demand. This is where we would be aiming for. Why did that come out in all caps? Daily demand, there we go. So on the lower time frames, or just in general, I am just relatively shorting this. I would be looking for short positions. Reason why, we're gonna have a beautiful break here, full body candle break. You know, the price may come back up a little bit up to here, but ultimately I think it's going to be heading toward that daily demand. So if it does come back up, that would be really good news for me, because I would then take that as my confirmation or just an added layer of retesting, and I would increase my contract sizes based on that. But if not, it's fine. If we see on the lower frames that we see a nice like breaks of structure down here, then okay, maybe we could just do a very basic, a very refined entry of a 1 to 2.5, and I don't see an issue with that either. I think that would still be a valid setup. So Euro USD, as I am with the British pound, I am bearish. Heading over to the JPY. So again, from that daily market breakdown last Monday, I just put out this region as a potential retracement region, and we can see that the price did somewhat re-enter into this zone before then pushing back into the upside. So I wasn't really watching the JU, mainly because of all of this manipulation. But on that morning market breakdown, what I was saying is I would wait for it to come back here, and then I would be looking into a position. So let's imagine would enter into that position, and we'd be looking at a 1 to 2.5, 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio on this pair. In fact, now we're there, I would rather just do something such as this. 1 to 2.5. And I would consider that to be a fine, relatively fine position. If it comes down, and maybe I would extend the stop loss. Yeah, I think the stop loss should be a little bit more, actually. Just giving it a little bit of leeway. Just a little bit of leeway right there. And I'll extend this up to, okay, 2.3 I think is also good enough. The reason why is because if the price comes down here, it would need to fully break this area and close on the hour. I'm on the hourly frame right now, before retracing back up, right? So that's why I would play my stop in that way. Overall, I am bullish. We are in an uptrend. We're trading above the 200 EMA, which is good. Also, on the 4-hourly, again, trading above the 200 EMA, was just seeing this lovely climb. I still think price is going to come up here, and this is where it's going to have a reaction back into the downside. So I'm just waiting on that anyway. Gold is going very, very well. It played relatively quite nicely into that Monday daily market breakdown technical analysis, where yes, I saw that the gold was going to come down, forecasted that the price would likely come back up, maybe retesting something on the lower frames, but then ultimately it would be going down. Yes, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. And that entry is solely based on Actually, this entry should have been placed a little bit higher, regardless anyway. But yeah, anyway, bearish on gold. We are trading below the 200 EMA on the 4-hour frame, so definitely short-term bearish. We're likely heading toward the year's open. We are also targeting this verified demand zone as well, as when price retraces back into this area, it pushes itself up, which is that's why the target is there. So I'd likely play around with a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio on gold these next couple of days. Yeah, on the lower frames, yeah, you can see that it's trying to retrace. That means the DXY is likely going down a little bit. Yeah, it's going down a little bit. But ultimately, I think that gold is just going to continue into the downside. What we can also see is a very nice breaker structure here caused by this. And so we may see that the price just have a little bit of a pullback into this area before then continuing itself down. So maybe if you were looking to apply a similar technical analysis to your charts, you may find a very similar pattern as I have there. Heading over to BTC USDT. Yeah, so what I was waiting for on BTC was price to come down, and there were two areas where I was waiting for a reaction to happen, which we seem to be seeing on the first forecast, where the price was going to come down. It was going to have an initial reaction here before then pushing up, breaking market structure, which we are currently seeing on the hour. So I can just start marking this out. So look at that. We got a really nice full body break. I'll lock that in. Let me just remove these lines because it just makes it look so complex. So we see a really nice breaker structure into the upside, full body break there. What I would then be waiting for, so I'll be a little bit cautious because we may see BTC retrace back into this area first before pushing up even more, because look at how aggressive that is. That's very aggressive. And when we see a lot, especially with the volume, when we see a lot of volume pushing the price up in this way, we often see a slow pullback. That is a really nice thing to find. And if it retraces back into the zone or just before this zone and then breaks structure again, then that is a really nice confirmation that we're going to continue moving upwards. So that is what I would be waiting for at the moment. I wouldn't be looking for a long on the short term, but overall I would be looking for long positions. As I've said numerous times, I really don't see why BTC would not achieve 90,000 sometime this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, let's head back to GBP USD. You can even look at the community. It's funny, I found something within the community. Oh, looks like we're a little bit bullish here at the moment. Very frustrating. We really want to see that push down. I saw someone in the community post all of their data after all the candlesticks have come out, and I think somebody responded there. Are you sure? Well, it's it's just funny when I see these types of things, because you can quite clearly see that people are trying to take advantage of, let's say, what happened 5 minutes ago, and then I write that into the community. Although all the plays have already played out, I'm just copying what I've seen 5 minutes ago and telling people that, hey, check it out, my my analysis is, so accurate. So I find it really funny to see things such as that. I think as traders anyway, a lot of us are not that naive to follow these types of people. So you always need to be very careful. with that. Yeah. So at this point in time, just waiting for GBP to push down. I can remain on the lower frames. I can remain on the lower frames just so that we can watch, or we can see where the overall trend is going on those lower frames. It's really cool because we can, although we're in a bit of a consolidation or this descending wedge, what is also interesting is that we can see the price is spending more time below the 200 EMA. And like I said, with that economic data coming out, I mean, it just, and unemployment rate is increasing in the UK. I wouldn't really be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised this thing just falls off a cliff, really. I mean, hopefully it does, so that my trade plays out. That would be great. Similar to Euro USD, on the 15-minute frame, nothing's really happening so much here. So, I mean, we can just see this consolidation. We are moving down, failing to break these highs, and producing lower lows. This one failed to break here. So this is a very key level of support for euro dollar. If we see that the price does eventually break here with that full body break, then we know where the price is going. It's going all the way down here. All right. Trading is a very slow game. Always need to wait for these things to occur before entry. JPU, yeah, look at that. I think that looks like a lot of manipulation there as well. Did anything happen? Was there any news that came out at this time? There doesn't seem to be, no. Look at that. Big manipulation, huge spike there. 19th of May, yesterday, 1:30. 19th of May, yesterday, 1:30. What happened there? 19th of May. Where are we? 19th of May. Oh, it stayed on. Oh, I'm still on the replay. Okay, cool. A little bit of a sell-off there. How did DXY do that at that time? Yeah, gosh, there's so much manipulation. Japanese yen, what are you doing? Oh dear. Gosh, look at that. It's just blatantly clear, isn't it? This is why I'm staying away from the Japanese yen at the moment. Because of things such as this. It just makes trading just so difficult for everybody. You know, this really is just at the whim of a government pushing it down, and then boom, it all just pushes itself back up. Ridiculous. Heading over to the DXY. Beautiful trend up, really beautiful. We got these really nice ascending lows. This hopefully will tell us that we are going to continue moving upward. Let's see what we're looking like on the 4-hourly. So while we're on our way up, we are producing a lot of internal liquidity here, which we would likely need to pay attention to if a reversal starts to happen. What we might find is that price will continue up to about here, hopefully, and then we could see a really sharp pullback down, taking out the liquidity resting here. I don't know if it will go this deep before then moving up again. So that's something we'd have to be very cautious about as well. This is a breaker structure right there. Beautiful breaker structure. Just remove this. Very nice movements here for the DXY. Hopefully it will continue moving upward, and then that plays very nicely into a lot of our major currency pairs. We can take a look at crude. So with oil on its way up, this often pushes the US dollar up as well, because we now know that this is, or we've always known that this is closely tied to conflicts. And so if there is a slight chance that the conflict could continue or even escalate, then oil is a very good sign that shows us that yes, it's likely going to continue for a little bit. Gosh, there's a lot of volume on the 6th of May. Was that 2 weeks ago? Wow. NASDAQ is looking really good. We're just seeing this huge surge up. And what this often tells us when we see this beautiful surge up is that there is confidence within the US economy, that perhaps the rough part of the conflict is beginning to be subdued, hopefully. Because I don't do much of a technical analysis on the NASDAQ itself, but we are trading very nicely greatly above the 200 EMA. And this tells us that we would be looking for those long positions. And let's imagine if technicals did play nicely. Oh, did play nicely on NASDAQ. Then we could see if there is a retracement, maybe down here to the 0.5. I don't think it will go all the way down, but if there was a retracement, or maybe even just to the month's open, and then I'll be looking for long positions. But I guess that would have to align with financial reports going out. It would also have to align with what's happening, the latest news that is happening over in the Middle East and anything else that might be occurring. Heading back to GBP USD on the daily frame. Let me just drop back down to the hour. I like the hourly frames these days. Gives us a little bit more insight. Oh no, it's pushing up. Don't push up, go down. What is this person talking about? I just find it funny to read. There is bearish pressure near 1339. I'm on 1339, which is this area here. You're saying there's bearish pressure in here. Okay. I mean, this is more consolidation than anything. Sell zone 1339. Oh, it's now a sell zone. What is this individual talking about? Shook down to the 15-minute. Sell zone is where? 3390. I don't understand. How is this is 3390, by the way, and this individual is saying sell, but only giving potential target points, no stop loss, no entry, and everything is maybe. Oh, ridiculous. Guys, you don't need to be following or listening to individuals such as this. You must be very cautious about the community and what people are putting out there. When I originally started trading, I was trying to align my confirmation bias with what was happening over in the communities. So I tried to align what was happening in the communities to confirm my strategy. And more often than not, it was just such unnecessary noise. And anything that you read in the community always makes you question yourself all the time. So gotta be careful of that. I don't know what this individual was talking about. And also, if you had followed that advice from 13 minutes ago, you would be in a losing position at this point in time. So there we go. Just proven in real time. Ridiculous statement. All right, heading over to the euro dollar. Yep, we are seeing quite a substantial amount of resistance, and we're just waiting for this area to be broken. If it gets broken, this is a really nice sign that we're likely going to continue into this daily demand, or is it a 4-hourly demand? Daily demand, into that daily demand. And if that happens, then we will likely, well, you could write it down, of course. You could write this down, maybe analyze this yourself in a way where a shorting position seems to be the correct move. Write this down and then start looking for reversal patterns within the daily demand. Reversing, I mean, into the upside, which then will hopefully either return to this level here. So if we will likely create new liquidity lines here, then I would be looking for a position such as that and trying to take any liquidity resting above these areas. Of course, I've drawn this to indicate that, okay, we may change direction quite aggressively. Into the upside. But we'll see. We'll see it how this plays out. But ultimately, yeah, I'm seeing that price may retrace into this daily demand, and then I'll be looking for long positions based on that. DXY, don't go down. Continue going up, please. We want to see this price surge up to this previous potential supply zone that had never gotten tested. It's been a very rocky path for the DXY these last couple of weeks. We had this huge open that just left a substantial gap, and we saw this massive bit of manipulation here, which was completely extraordinary. And then we saw price respecting very much our technical analysis. It came down to this 4 touch point demand zone. It had then taken liquidity and then started to reverse into the upside. So this is a really good It's been playing quite nicely into technicals. This it came up to our unverified, now verified supply zone because we saw a really nice reaction. I was originally expecting the DXY to come down back around this area, but it seems that this was more of a shallow pullback. And now we're likely going to see, hopefully, it continue into the upside because we are now in an uptrend with the DXY. And hopefully we're going to see it continue up into this area. And with that other pullback, I am imagining, because this was so shallow, that we might see this and a really strong pullback. I think that's what we might see in the future. You know, shallow pullback at first, deep later on. So that's what I'm expecting to see. Hopefully the DXY does play into my technical analysis there. A bit confused again by the community. People are saying, why is this pair not moving? It is moving quite a lot actually. I mean, just over the last 2 days, we've seen a movement. Why is this not? Oh, there we go. We've seen a movement of what? 146 pips from 2 days ago. 150-ish pips, which is I mean, if you rode that, a contract size of maybe 2, you would be looking at well over 1,000, maybe 2,000 US dollars, $1,000 a day. So people saying that nothing is happening on this pair. It's quite good that I can have a look at the community discussions and see what people are saying, because this also comes down to the heart of trading. It's not a game for impatient people. You need to spend a lot of time waiting for confirmations, waiting for your strategy to come out, and this is why so many traders fail, including myself. I failed many times and I still fail, much better than I was before, mind you, but if you don't have the patience, then this is not an industry for you. So it's really good to see this in the group chats or the community channels. People saying that this currency pair is nonsense, and somebody writing that they have no idea why they are remaining on this particular pair. Euro dollar, we got some interesting ideas being put out in the community here. We're still seeing a lot of people being very frustrated. Other people putting out their signals after the fact, so that's a bit ridiculous. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, guys, this is just my general technical analysis. I'm not here to advise you on how to trade in any way, because I am helping you guys identify where supply and demand may be resting, where liquidity may be resting, where the pullback areas may be, using Fibonacci, identifying the trend using my EMAs and just general price action. It's a big bundle, right? It's a big bundle of what I use to analyze the markets. I mean, there are several people who trade using, let's say, orb strategy. Some people just using breaks of structure and changes of character. There's nothing wrong with that. people relying solely on chart patterns. So again, nothing wrong with that. If you're going to align so many strategies, if you have a good understanding of all these different strategies, one of those days when they all align gives you a pretty high bit of confidence that you want to enter into a position, right? Yeah, so euro dollar on the 15-minute frame is just struggling. We're just seeing all of these long wicked candles. It doesn't want to go lower. It's finding a lot of resistance here. So the JPY, JPY wants to go up. Well, it wants to go down. Japan wants it to go down, which is why we're seeing all of this manipulation here. It's very clear with these spikes. You can see these red and green spikes at the bottom here. This is manipulation on a grand scale. Manipulation, grand scale. Go back, manipulation. Huge, huge, huge manipulation right here. Manipulation. It really stands out. It's very, very clear. And that is why I am not trading the JBP, the Japanese yen to US dollar, because the Bank of Japan just has, they just want, they want this pair to go down. They want to value their currency, and that's perfectly fine if they, but the manipulation is too apparent. It's too volatile. Someone was saying this will 100% go near 160 before any intervention. That's what someone else is saying, not what I'm saying. To believe this can only go up, not meant negative, because how could you know? Well, it seems as though somebody replied to that individual's comment, because that's actually where I also placed where this price is likely to climb to before seeing a huge push down. The yen did not devalue. What are they talking about? If it goes up, it devalues. If it goes down, it values. Oh, reading community comments is quite funny. Anyway, yeah. Staying away from this for the time being. So over to XAU Gold. How are we performing here in our little shorting opportunity? Head down to the 15-minute frames. Okay, let me try and remove some of these lines because it is quite clearly cluttering everything. Keep that locked in. All right, let me just draw this out so that we can remain consistent with how we're doing our analysis. Break of structure into the downside. Remember, I am looking for shorting opportunities here. Fail to break into the down. Very beautiful though, with it coming down and then coming back up for that retest into that area and now pushing down again. So this is very nice. What we could also end up seeing is something like this happening, as I mentioned previously, before pushing down into the downside. So, yep, still pretty bearish on XAU. I wouldn't be fooled by this push up. I think it's going to find a lot of resistance here, and it's certainly going to find resistance here. So I wouldn't be too fooled by that. I think it's just coming up for that retest. Oh, gold just has far too many. Gold just has far too many people reposting potential setups. This price action is terrible. London session is not good these days. Well, yeah, I couldn't agree more. It is a fascinating session to be trading. Let's return to the GU and UK political uncertainty pressure GBP US dollar. Okay, I mean, it's a fair observation. Politically, the UK is having a bit of an issue. When is it not? Someone else wrote, either way, GBP USD presenting opportunities. Fair enough. And still people are saying that if you don't like this pair, you should come back later. Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Just set alarms. You can set alerts within TradingView itself. So you just come over here, click the plus sign, and then just click add an alert. And then that will let you know when the price has moved in a direction that you think works well for you. I am certainly not liking all these nice touch points here on the area of resistance. I really don't like that, because if this aligns nicely with a demand zone, we could see the price start to push up again, and I don't want that to happen, of course. So hopefully we will just see GBP continue into the downside. DXY very far from home. We are in that supply zone at the moment, but overall we are in an uptrend. I think we've seen the shallow pullback, and we should now start to see breaks of structure into the upside, which we kind of have here, which is a wick break of structure. But a wick break is a weak break, and we don't like wick breaks, especially on the lower time frames. Wick breaks on the lower time frame wick breaks on the lower time frames are very they don't point toward anything that good, really. We'd want to see something like such as this full body candle break into the upside. Came back down, pushed itself back up, failing to break this low. So hopefully it doesn't break this low, and it just continues pushing upward. What's this community saying? Ideal situation for today. Okay, this individual thinks it is going to pop up in the short term and in the long term fall. Okay. DXY weakens today. Other traders are suggesting that the price will fall as well. Someone just wrote double top 14 hours ago. That's great, that. Double top, that's my entry. Double top is a bearish candle pattern. Basically, when the price comes up, goes down, comes up again to almost the same level, and this just shows that it can't go any higher, and that means the sellers are winning and will likely push the price back down, and that's a bearish chart pattern. I'll return to the GU. Yay, we should see it be going down now. I just noticed that the DXY started to push up just a little bit there. Let's take a look. Oh, looks like I need to reload my trading view. Head back to GPU, GU. Yeah, okay. I mean, there's a lot of struggle here. It is a very slow market. You're not going to see massive fluctuations. Um, I mean, if you want big fluctuations, you just go down to the minute frame, right? It's the minute frame. And if you want to see it in real time, you would use your MT trader. I don't think TradingView is cut out for second by second trading, but the MT traders usually are. I think they're pretty good at capturing market movement relatively quite quickly. Um, so this is really nice. If we were to analyze the minute frame, which you would only do for very short periods of time, breaker structure, very nice, beautiful entry. You could have written it down to, yeah, maybe where we are now, because this broke. So what we'd likely see now is that the price may come up, may have a little bit of a reaction here. And then maybe we'll see it come up again, have another reaction here, and then maybe it'll come down, something like this. It's just how I'm analyzing it based on what I see. It's on the minute frame, and it will come up to whatever liquidity was resting here, and then hopefully it will continue downward into the downside. Be quite interesting to see if this plays out, which it is. Lovely. So, going to come up, back up into this little area box here, hopefully, or just before that little box. What's interesting is a lot of trading strategies are relatively quite are relative to the different frames you see. So it came up, it did almost enter into that box. Now it's going to come back down to maybe, yeah, this midpoint, hopefully. Yeah. Just need to wait on the next candle, 20 seconds before next candle. It's amazing. I saw someone bring out a scalping button or keyboard, very very small little keyboard, and it just has buy and sell. So you can just buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. Which I think, is absolutely so ideal for scalpers. Anyway, yeah, this is likely, what I'm seeing the price potentially do. I'm gonna leave that there for a while if you want, and we can come back and take a look. Right, euro dollar is finally trying to move down. It's trying to break, and we have seen a really nice break here. Let's see if that minute candle can actually remain below with a full body break. So that would be really nice. If it turned out to be a bearish Maraboozle candle, that would be even better. 5, 4, 3. No. Oh, people caught on quick with that one. No, clearly it failed. Wick break is a weak break, so may see that pop back up again. That failed. Let me drop back out to a higher time frame because we don't want to be caught up in those lower time frames. Price just moves aggressively in whichever direction it wants to go. As I said, yeah, we were kind of ascending on the JU toward that 160 level. Ultimately devaluing, guys. If it goes up, it is devaluing because this is USD to JPY. So I don't know what this community was talking about earlier. I don't know what they were talking about, that Japan wants to devalue their currency. That's why they're pushing it down. But if you're pushing it down, you're actually valuing your currency. So that makes no sense to me. But yep, slowly moving upward, which is good, and this obviously follows in line. Almost movement by movement with the DXY. So it seems today's a bit of a slow day, even though we had some economic news announcements. We're in this consolidation at the moment. Since I just drew that doodle on the 15-minute, what I've just seen, oh, beautiful little flag pattern there. It's an upward flag. It's a bullish flag pattern. That is signaling that we could continue upward. Yeah, so I mean, everything's pointing toward going up. That is why I am staying within my GU range. Let's drop back down to the minute and see it how my prediction played out. Yep, came down. It's gone up. It's come down. Hopefully, will continue down, and then boom, should go up again. So maybe I should become a scalper. I need to zoom out. I need to unlink this. Move. It's a bit of a clunky system, isn't it? Just delete all of that. Bring that back. And there we go. Oh, don't like how far away I've been there. There we go. Yeah, hopefully this plays out nicely into the downside. What other economic news is coming out today? Oh, I see the FOMC minutes. Sure, but that's all subjective, all open to interpretation. So there's no solid hard data coming out from the US today or the UK. Although tomorrow, on the 21st, we are going to be seeing the British S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. Also, Product Managers Index, is it? Seeing at how much they're purchasing for manufacturing materials. Is that correct? Forecast to be a little bit lower than previous, which is again really good. S&P Global Services as well, so the services industry as well, index should also come out a little bit lower, and that would make a bit of sense with the firstly core inflation on its way down, and also unemployment rate on its way down as well, so that kind of makes a bit of sense. Let's have a look here. Which it indicates a slowing economy. That's not good. And then again for the British. Oh no, wait, that's not for the British. Oh, for the US tomorrow, coming out are housing starts. Yes, that is STARTS, starts. Is expected to be a little bit lower. Building permits preliminary is expected to be a little bit higher. So doesn't seem like there's going to be massive divergences within. This is lesser economic news as well. So fundamentally, we might see a big jump on the 1 to 5 minute frames, but overall, I think the trend will remain true to itself up until. Let's just jump out to the 4-hour. Up until that's it, isn't it? I mean, what was coming out next week? Let's take a look. May 25th onward. Monday onward. Next week, GDP estimates are coming out. For the US, nothing specific here. Consumer confidence. Inflation rate year over year preliminary for France. So that will affect the euro dollar. And Germany. And Canada. But that's it. So we seem to be quite safe on this currency pair from surprising fundamentals. That is exactly what we want to see. Less surprising economic news and just more going back to technicals. because technicals we can judge ourselves, right? Fundamentals we can't control at all. Led solely by FUD, fear, indecision, FUD. Oh, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I think that's what it stands for. Okay, well, considering we only have 5 minutes left on this live stream and I don't see any specific questions coming up, just to quickly recap, and I'll do this all on the 4 hourly because this seems to be the easier one for me to use to show. Downtrend. We're in a downtrend on GU. Economic data came out not as good for the British pound, so we're going to continue riding this all the way down until we hit this daily demand. Hopefully this trade plays out very nicely. It'll be a very nice win for myself. Euro dollar, same thing. Got beautiful breaker structures there. Full body breaks as well. It came down, little pullback, shallow pullback, and is likely now pushing into this area where we'll likely then see a very powerful pullback, maybe even hitting above these previous highs down here. So short-term bearish, long-term bullish on the euro dollar. Have we just, while we've been talking, have we broken that structure yet? No, not yet. Almost there though. USD JPY, not a pair I want to be playing around with at this point in time, but you can already see what I'm looking at here is a push into the upside around the 160 region before and then waiting for a reaction and riding that to the downside. So that's what I'm waiting for on the GBP, the USD to JPY. The DXY is in a huge uptrend. We've got beautiful breaks of structure. We had a shallow pullback. Now we're waiting for this structure to break. And then when it does break, we're likely going to end up in one of these previous verified supply zones. So this is going to be a really nice push into the upside. If you are trading Elliott wave, maybe this is your wave 1, 2, and 3 is going to be a big one into the upside. So that would be really cool if that strategy played out. BTC, I am bullish, although we are seeing a lot of pullback, so not to read into it too much. We've seen a really nice breaker structure. There is a bit of resistance here now, but not to worry because there's been so much volume pushing it up. We want to wait for a really nice slow retracement back into this area, and then I'll be looking for a long position, and I'll just ride that up to the 90,000 because I expect it to hit 90,000 sometime this year. I think this year is going to start moving toward more of a risk on market, especially since the beginning of this year has been so uncertain. Gold, I am going to continue riding this down. We're almost there as well. Almost there with gold. On the hour, I'll drop to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, beautiful breaker structure there, full body break as well, just indicating that this trend wants to continue into the downside. The 200 EMA is not even in sight, so I will just continue riding that down until it re-enters into this verified demand zone, and then I will start looking for reactions and what happens within that zone. If we start to see a potential reversal happen, then great. I would then start to look for long positions and put my targets to previous highs or potential internal liquidity zones. That would be my setup. All right, guys. Well, that's mostly it. I know today hasn't been super exciting because we're not seeing so much movement on the markets itself. However, it is good to come here and just, if you're following a very similar strategy to mine, really good to reiterate and double check what I'm doing against what you're doing, and with you guys being online, what you're doing, I can check against what I'm doing, so it kind of helps and builds up that community and that strength. I continue doing these live streams every week, so feel free to come back and just do technical analysis with me during the London sessions. Of course, New York session will eventually come sometime later this year. And that's usually a wild market as well. High volatility, huge volume pushing into it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining or rewatching this live stream. I certainly hope this has helped you understand the market in a much better way as well. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye for now.